And you saw LS, and boy, I guess they're for real. They put a number up on Penn Manor, right?
Yeah, unlike you, I didn't really get to see a competitive game tonight. It was LS all the way from the opening kickoff, which they returned 85 yards for a touchdown. Dan Lopez takes it at the 15 and just has a nice leisurely stroll up the field the way it looked. He may have been touched once or twice, but certainly not much. Took it all the way back, took it to the house. A lot of big plays in this game. For Penn Manor to really have a chance, those big plays would have had to have gone the Comets' way. They didn't, with the exception of one. They had an 81-yard touchdown pass from Saad to Tion Lee, where he broke a couple of tackles after he made the catch and took off from midfield to the end zone. That was really all of their offense. The rest of it was all LS. I mean, this game was not very competitive. Fairly disappointing effort for the Comets. I know Coach Todd Mealy after the game was not happy with what he saw. LS, meanwhile, 2-0, two very impressive wins over Section 1 teams. Now, you can make the argument that Henfield's going to struggle this year, and they probably are, and Penn Manor is rebuilding after turning over half of their roster, but the fact remains, those are two Section 1 teams, and LS has shredded both of them. Now they got Cedar Cliff coming up this week in their last non-league game before Section 2. That's Jim Cantafio's squad. They're also undefeated, so that's going to be a pretty good game.
I want to ask you about your impressions. Nate Shank, LS quarterback. I've kind of been hyping this guy in my notes and stuff. 8 for 12, 121, and he also had a pick on defense. Your impressions of Nate? You like him?
Yeah, and he also had a fumble recovery on defense as well. So he had a really good all-around game. He's not flashy. He's not going to blow you away, but he gets a job done. He runs the offense really well. They run a variant of the wing T, so he has a lot of decisions he has to make. And when he goes back to pass, he finds the open man. He gets it to him. Again, he's not flashy, but he's very businesslike. He gets the job done. He's not asked to throw the ball 30 times. He's asked to throw it 10 to 15 times, and he completes the majority of them. So for what they want to do on offense, he's a perfect fit. Just a junior, he looks like a senior the way he plays. Very good quarterback. So
safe to say the next game we better talk about is Ephrata 21, Cocalico 20. Stop the presses.
Just a stunner. I was talking to our guy that was out at the game. Ephrata went up. They were up 21-0.
21-0.
At one point in the game in the first half, Cocalico rallies. They get to within a point. They missed a PAT after their third touchdown.
Right.
Then they're driving for the potential game-winning field goal. Get it in range. As time runs out, Ephrata blocks the field goal on the last play of the game to send the Eagles down into defeat. I think it's safe to say no one outside of the Mountaineers locker room saw this one coming, and there were probably quite a few people in the Mountaineers locker room that are pretty stunned tonight.
I would say
but the fact remains, Cocalico, my preseason pick to beat out Central in Section 2, they take their first loss of the year to Ephrata. Very hard to believe.
How about that? Unbelievable. Yeah, Andrew Burkholder was sort of the star of this game. He had a halfback option touchdown pass for one of their scores, and he's the kid who blocked the field goal late. Felpel, I think it was a 37-yard attempt with time running out. Burkholder made the block. Ephrata survives 3 second-half touchdown runs from Austin Hartman. Shocker.
Yeah.
But, to miss a PAT and then to block one, wow. Hey, hats off to Ephrata.
Absolutely.
Talk about confidence builder for those guys.
Great win for Ephrata. I'm trying to think here what a comparable win for Ephrata would be. You'd have to go back a lot of years to find one that's bigger than this one.
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
It got to be in their top 2 or 3 if it's not the best one they've ever had.
Probably.
So.
And now Cocalico gets a good Mifflin team next, and then Mannheim.
Yeah.
So, all of a sudden, Cocalico's kind of looking up at things. So,
sure.
Wow. Okay, got to mention these for sure. McCaskey, 45, York High, 14. 3 more touchdown runs for Markeith Williams. First time McCaskey's 2-0 since 2006. Hello.
Hard to believe. And I said in my blog this week that we would get a better idea of what kind of team McCaskey has when they go up against York. I mean, nothing against their first win, but it was against a AA school. It was they had 20 kids on the roster. This, however, is a big step forward. I mean, York was coming off a fairly impressive win over Reading. They always have good games with McCaskey. They always give McCaskey trouble. A lot of athletes, very similar teams actually. They had a 102-yard interception return at the end of the first half, where a lot of people on McCaskey's side started muttering, thinking, "Oh, is this going to be where the wheels come off?"
Yeah.
Instead, McCaskey rattles off 21 points in the third quarter and really took control of the game and didn't relent from there. So congratulations to the Red Tornado, 2-0. big one now next week. They've got the undefeated Lancaster Catholic Crusaders, the crosstown rivals. That's going to be a good one. I'm going to be at that one for one of our spotlight games. I am stunned that both teams are going into this one 2-0.
You and a lot of other people. Catholic 35, Hempfield 0 on Friday. Crusaders stretched their winning streak to 15 in a row going back to last year. Fun stats, Catholic in 2 weeks, they've outscored their opponents 70-7. Hempfield in 2 weeks has been outscored 73-0. Rhoda backed it up, 10 for 14, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he's been efficient as ever. So Catholic McCaskey.
And another good night for Roman Clay, the sophomore running back. I saw he had a couple of scores in that game tonight. So Catholic obviously very impressive. Again, maybe bigger tests are coming for them down the road, but they're taking care of the teams that are put out there in front of them, and it's always nice to see a Section 3 team go up and knock off a Section 1 team. Now they'll get a chance to do it again next week against McCaskey, but that's all of a sudden become a much more interesting game than maybe we were thinking it was going to be in the preseason. So.
No doubt about that.
All right, let's run down the rest of the scores real quick.
Sure, okay. Peckway Valley, boy, they get these shootout wacky games. Peckway Valley 35, Kutztown 28. Running attack, Chris Schmidt, 213 rushing yards and 2 scores for the Braves. Conrad Weiser keeps picking off LL teams. They beat CV last week. They beat Cedar Crest 46-14. And Weiser gets Donegal next, so they have 3 LLs they're going to pick on this year. Hershey beats E-Town 14-7. Bears get a 96-yard touchdown pass, but here's your stat from this game. E-Town, -2 rushing yards.
That's not going to get it
That's
done.
not good. No, that's not good. Northeastern York 32, Columbia 26. Tide coming off a win last week. Led 12-0. Led 18-8 at the half. Can't hold on. So, good start. Not so good second game. We'll see what happens next. They have Daniel Boone next, and Boone's really, really good.
Yes, sir.
Warwick 28, CV 14. Darren Thompson, 236 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. And don't forget, Warwick was playing with Zach Hirsch, the sophomore quarterback.
Nice night. At least they know they have a workhorse they can go to while they break into QB.
Exactly. I didn't see CV 0-2 out of the game.
Nor did I.
No, didn't see that coming. Red Lion 27, Manheim Township 21. Township cannot beat Red Lion. Lost to them 2 years ago, 3-0 in overtime. Lost to them by 10 last year. They go to OT again this year, 21 all. Red Lion scores and wins. They're snake bitten. It's a hex and a jinx, and Township cannot beat Red Lion right now.
And speaking of teams that you didn't think were going to be 0-2 at the start of the season,
and I think just about everybody, if they didn't pick Township to win Section 1, they definitely picked them no worse than second.
Absolutely.
So, Solanco beat CDE Squeaker 21-20. Joe Welk, 122 rushing yards and a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
That's nice.
Good night for Joe. Pine Grove over Elko 38-17. 0-2 for Elko. I don't think we saw that either.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I picked Elko to be 3-0 coming out of the chute, and that's not going to happen.
No.
Dover 41, Garden Spot 14. Spartan snapped the losing streak last week. Come out and lose and give up 41 Friday night.
Ouch.
Yeah. Donegal 21, Fleetwood 13. Donegal finally gets something going offensively. They rush for 240 yards. Johnny Martin scores 2 touchdowns. Donegal needed a win, any win, and they needed to move the ball, and they did. Glad to see that. 2 more. Hamburg 18, Anvil Cleona 14. Dutchman led this game 14-0 at the half. Hamburg 18 unanswered. Another ouch.
And that's another team that's surprising me to see at 0-2. I was really expecting a little more out of them this year.
Yeah, you're right. And the last one, Lebanon 49, Northern Lebanon 14. Air raid once again. Check out these numbers. Alex Troutman 15 for 23. 317 yards, 6 touchdown passes. Cedars are 2-0. Talk about teams you didn't think would be 2-0.
There we go.
Hey, here's Lebanon, and now they go to Elko next week for the Autism Awareness Night game, and Elko's struggling. Lebanon could be looking at 3-0 going into that wild Section 2 race.
Congratulations to the Cedar. Great start there.
How about that? That's everything. That's a wrap on Friday night.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. Once again, remember, during the week leading up to the games, leading up to the Week 3 games, be sure to visit us at lanksports.com. Jeff's blog is A View from the Press Box. He covers really the entire Lancaster-Lebanon League, but this time of year it's a lot of football. My blog is called The Huddle. I concentrate entirely on Lancaster-Lebanon League football. We'll be offering predictions, news and notes, and commentary all through the week. And then, of course, our spotlight games next week. Jeff will be doing Manheim Central Selinsgrove. I'll be doing Lancaster Catholic McCaskey, the big crosstown rivalry there. So we'll look for you next week. And thank you again for visiting lanksports.com. Have a great weekend.